Do you want to know how to make your own sourdough starter? Well, I'm going to show you how I would do it if I was starting over. So we're first going to want to get our supplies ready. So what we're going to want to get is a quart, at least a 1 quart non-reactive jar. So stainless steel, glass, or ceramic are great. I got this off of my Amazon store. This is awesome because it has the rubber band for me. It also has a thing that tells me what the temperature is, and it has a topper. But if you don't have that, you absolutely can just use a mason jar with a rubber band and use a paper towel with another rubber band over top of it to cover it, like so. The paper towel isn't my most favorite thing. That's all I used when I first started, but it's not my most favorite thing because it can dry your starter out a little bit. So we're going to start with day one. We are going to start with either rye or wheat flour and filtered water. So day one is the only day that we're going to use our rye or wheat flour. These are a little bit just nutrient dense and they help speed up fermentation. So it's a lot better way to get an active starter if we start with one of those two. So I already mixed mine up, but I wanted to just give you guys a visual of what this looks like. So we are going to do day one. We're going to do 1 cup of our rye flour or wheat, and we're going to do about a 1/2 cup of water. What we're looking for is like a thick pancake batter consistency. This is actually even a little thick still for me. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And even though I'm giving you guys measurements, know that the most ideal thing that we're really looking for visually is a thick pancake batter consistency. So I almost always have to add a little bit more water or flour depending on to get that consistency that I want. So this is going to be even a little bit more thick day one because of the rye flour. So that's what we're looking for. So once we mix our mixture together, we are going to take our rubber band and we're going to place the rubber band where that mixture is. So this rubber band eventually is going to show us how much our starter is raising. The first couple days, you're not going to notice anything. Then we are going to cover this up and we're going to put it on our counter in a room that's at least 70 degrees for 24 hours. Now, day 2 and 3 are going to be the exact same. We're going to take our starter. We're going to dump out about half of it, so probably down to here. And we're now going to move on. We're done with our rye and wheat flour. We're now going to move on and we're going to use either bread flour, which is my preference. And I love this brand, the King Arthur. Or we're going to use using all-purpose flour is totally fine too. So day 2 and 3, we are going to dump out half of our sourdough starter, throw it in the garbage. Do not put it down your drain. You can also make stuff with sourdough discard, but I'm assuming you are a newbie. So I just feel like that's down the road. So for now, for ease of things, we're going to throw it in the garbage. It will clog up your drain, so don't throw it down your kitchen sink. So discard half of it, and then we're going to add 1 cup of our bread flour and a 1/2 cup of filtered water. So again, what I'm really looking for is more the consistency of it, like that thick pancake batter is what we're looking for. So let's see here. Day 4, we're going to start feeding our starter every 12 hours. So we're going to do exactly the same thing that we've been doing. We're going to discard half of our starter that's in there when it's feeding time, and we're going to add 1 cup of flour and a 1/2 cup of filtered water. Again, adding flour or water depending on the consistency and what it's looking like. So by day 5, it's definitely possible your starter could be ready. What we're looking for is lots of bubbles. We're looking for that starter to double in size. If yours is doing that, that's awesome. It's ready to go. If it's not doing that, that's totally fine. It can take up to a week. If it's not doing that, continue with the feedings every 12 hours, discarding half of it, adding a cup of flour, 1/2 cup of water, until you get that active starter. And that's pretty much it. After you get your active starter, there's 2 different ways you can store it. You can store it on your counter. If you are going to store it on your counter, it does need to be fed every 24 hours. So you're going to do that same process. And also, once your starter's active, you can go back to just feeding it every 24 hours. You don't have to do the every 12 hours. Although if there's ever a time where you're feeling like your starter's being kind of sluggish, you can go back to feeding it every 12 hours, and that will usually like beef it up. So if you are going to keep your starter on the counter, I suggest doing this if you're planning on baking a lot. Otherwise, you're just going to be feeding and discarding every day. So I bake quite a bit, so I keep mine on my counter. So if you're going to keep it on the counter, you're going to want a lid like this. And you're just going to keep it out on the counter, and every 24 hours, you're going to give it a feeding. Another option is you can keep it in your fridge. So if you keep it in your fridge, you are going to want a screw down lid. And this comes with a screw down lid, but you also can just have like your jar and a lid that screws down. So you want to screw that down tight if it's going to be stored in the fridge. And then if it's in the fridge, you do need to feed your starter the exact same way, at least once a week. And when you're ready, if it's stored in the fridge, when you're ready to use your starter, what you want to do is you're going to pull it out the night before. You're going to give it a feeding, because that allows for it to come up to room temperature and be ready for you in the morning. So the night before you want to bake, make sure you're taking that starter out and feeding it. Sometimes if you kept it in the fridge, there can be some liquid on the top. That's called hooch. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can pour that off. The only thing you want to be looking for is if it's orange or pink, that means there could be mold, or if it smells bad, throw it out and start over. So I think that's everything. Let me know if you guys try this and what kind of success you have with it, and welcome to your sourdough journey.